Somebody is going to tell you that you are getting 2 Social Security checks this month. They are going to say it in a video, put it in a headline, or mention it to you in the church parking lot. But before you shift a single dollar of your budget, here is what you need to know. You are not getting 2 checks. Not this month, not any month, not ever. You will receive 12 payments this year, the exact same 12 you got last year, and the same 12 you will get next year. What is actually happening in August is a simple calendar quirk, but it is a quirk that has already cost people real money. When someone believes an extra check is coming, they spend against it. They tell the pharmacy they will pick up a prescription next week, let a bill sit for another cycle, or say yes to a grandchild. Then, the extra check never arrives, because it was never coming in the first place. I want to be clear about who this impacts, because it is not just a few people. Tens of millions of Americans rely on a monthly payment from this agency, whether for retirement, survivors, disability, or Supplemental Security Income, SSI. When a false rumor about payments circulates, it reaches a vast audience whose entire monthly budget hinges on a single number. For a household with room to breathe, a wrong rumor is just an annoyance. For a household where that check is the baseline, a wrong rumor forces a difficult choice: a bill paid or unpaid, a prescription filled or stretched thin. That is why this particular lie is so damaging. That lie is the first thing happening in August. Underneath the noise, however, are 3 very real developments that are getting completely drowned out. One changes how some people physically receive their money. Another involves a delay so severe that people are missing surgeries and running out of prescriptions. And the third is an emergency process almost nobody in this country knows exists. A lifeline where the Social Security Administration can put money in your hands within days if you are facing eviction or a utility shutoff. That last one is real. It has an official name and a process, yet the people who need it most have never been told it exists. Before this video ends, I will give you its exact name and explain what to say to get it. My name is Kevin. I read the rules so you do not have to. If you are new here, this channel exists for one reason. We read the fine print that decides what happens to your money so you find out before the system decides for you. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the noise around Social Security this month is louder than usual and almost none of it is true. Let us start with the 2-check claim so we can put it to rest once and for all. Here is how the payment calendar actually works. If you receive Supplemental Security Income, SSI, your payment arrives on the 1st of the month, every single month. That is the standard rule. However, the 1st of the month does not always fall on a business day. When the 1st lands on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment does not wait. It moves up to the last business day prior. This year, August 1st landed on a Saturday. Because of that, the August payment was issued on Friday, July 31st. Look at what that does to a calendar. July displays 2 payments, one on the 1st and one on the 31st, while August displays none. That is the entire story. Nobody received extra money, and nobody got a bonus. One payment simply arrived a day early and crossed over to the previous page of the calendar. This is not rare. It happens several times every year. Any month starting on a Saturday, Sunday, or federal holiday produces this exact same optical illusion. That is why the same misleading headlines resurface like clockwork, aimed at the exact same audience. For those on retirement or survivors' benefits rather than SSI, the schedule operates differently. Those payments are distributed throughout the month on Wednesdays based on your birth date. But the underlying principle remains identical. It is a pre-published schedule that never changes the total number of annual payments, only the specific calendar days on which they fall. There is one genuine exception worth noting, as it is the only scenario where your payment count actually looks different. If you receive both SSI and a regular retirement or disability benefit, you get 2 distinct payments on 2 separate schedules. That is still not a bonus, it is simply 2 different programs paying out on their own timelines. When those dates line up closely, people sometimes assume something unusual occurred, but it is just 2 normal schedules overlapping in the same week. The creators spreading the misleading versions are not confused, at least not those generating them at scale. They know precisely what the payment calendar states and why this mechanical shift happens throughout the year. Yet they run the same clickbait headline anyway, because "you are getting 2 checks" is one of the most clicked phrases online. Weeks later, when someone on a fixed income checks an empty mailbox in mid-August, those creators are nowhere to be found. It helps to understand the automated process driving these stories. A vast number of these videos are produced in bulk, scripts generated in minutes, automated AI voices, and stock visuals uploaded by channels that will disappear by next year. There is no real person holding themselves accountable for the financial damage caused. That isn't a flaw of the format, it is the point. Here is a quick filter you can apply to any financial claim you see online. Does it claim you are receiving money you did not earn and never applied for? If so, treat it with extreme skepticism. Does it explain a specific rule or program that you have to research and request yourself? That is far more likely to be legitimate, because there is no viral incentive in giving you homework. Lies promise free handouts. The truth usually requires action on your part. Consider a real-world example. Merrill is a 72-year-old living in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. He spent 26 years working at a grain elevator, and his monthly check is nearly his entire income. A neighbor showed him a video on a phone claiming July was a bonus month with 2 checks. It looked official and featured images of government buildings. Merrill did the math anyone would do. He had been postponing a dental visit for 11 months because it cost a few $100s he did not have. Suddenly, an unexpected windfall seemed to be arriving. He booked the appointment. Then August came, and his mailbox was empty. It remained empty because the payment he mistook for an extra check was actually his August payment arriving one day early in July. Merrill was not reckless with his money. He had successfully managed a household on a fixed check for decades. He was misled by content creators who prioritized views over accuracy. The impact went beyond a canceled appointment. Canceling meant going back to the end of a long waiting list, enduring several more months of tooth pain, and dealing with the emotional toll of having a brief moment of financial relief yanked away. Merrill felt embarrassed, but he shouldn't have. He was deliberately targeted. Here is the one rule that will permanently shield you from this confusion. 12 payments a year, always. The payment date may shift, but the total number never changes. Whenever you see a calendar showing 2 payments in a single month, read it as early, not extra, and remember that the following month will have a blank spot. To stay protected, rely on the official sources. The agency publishes its complete payment calendar in advance every year. It is free, public, and lists every payment date for the entire year. Print that schedule out and put it on your refrigerator. The next time someone tells you extra money is coming, you won't have to guess or argue. You can simply check the paper on your fridge. That single printed page does more to safeguard your household than any video online. There is a second rumor circulating right now that needs to be addressed, the new debit card story. You may have seen claims that new cards are being issued, that a major update is coming, or even hints that a special bonus or rebate is attached. What is actually happening is completely routine. Beneficiaries who do not have traditional bank accounts receive their monthly funds via a prepaid card program. That program is managed by an outside financial institution under a government contract. Recently, that contract transferred to a different institution. That is all it is, a standard administrative change in card providers. If you are enrolled in that specific prepaid card program, you may receive a replacement card in the mail. If you use direct deposit or receive standard checks, nothing about your money changes at all. There is no bonus, no rebate, and no hidden stimulus check. This rumor is particularly dangerous because when people expect a new card with extra funds, they start anticipating communication from the agency. That creates an opening for scammers. You might receive a fake phone call, text, or letter claiming your new card is ready, but requiring you to verify your social security number or bank details to activate it. Be extremely clear on this. The agency will not text you, message you on social media, or call demanding your sensitive personal details or payment to activate a card. If a legitimate replacement card is issued, it will arrive directly in your mailbox and will only require an activation phone call to the verified number printed on the card itself. If anyone contacts you first asking for sensitive details, it is a scam. Hang up immediately, look up the official agency number yourself, and place a direct call to verify. A related operational change is also being misunderstood. When the agency needs to issue an emergency or urgent payment, it historically printed a physical paper check on the spot. That process is gradually transitioning toward card-based disbursements as well. While that sounds like a minor administrative tweak, the underlying emergency mechanism itself is vital, and virtually no one knows it exists. Now let us address the operational delays causing real hardship today. Agency leadership has publicly stated to Congress that overall service and processing metrics have improved. However, the experience of beneficiaries and field office workers tells a very different story. While I'm not in a position to audit the agency, I consistently hear the same direct reports from viewers across the country. Someone loses a job along with their employer-backed health coverage. They apply for Medicare, but the paperwork stalls. Their prescriptions run out while they wait. Someone else has a surgery scheduled, but because their coverage processing is delayed, the procedure gets postponed. Others try calling the official phone lines only to hit dead ends, or visit local offices only to be told the next available appointment is weeks away. These are not abstract stats. They represent people left without vital medication or medical care. If you are facing overwhelmed phone lines, calling repeatedly using the same strategy will not work. You need to adjust your timing. Calling early in the morning, early in the week, or toward the end of the month consistently yields better results than calling during peak midday or beginning of the month rushes when payment inquiries spike. Furthermore, if the automated system offers a callback option, use it. Taking a callback preserves your place in line without forcing you to sit on hold for hours. There is also a specific Medicare timing trap that catches many people off guard. If you are covered under an active employer group health plan, yours or your spouse's, you may have delayed enrolling in Medicare Part B at age 65. That is standard and often fully compliant with the rules. When that employer coverage ends, a special enrollment period opens, allowing you to sign up without facing a late enrollment penalty. That window lasts for several months. Here is where people run into trouble, confusing a penalty-free window with active, ongoing coverage. Knowing they have a multi-month window, people relax, submit their paperwork online, and wait. But the window is not the risk. The coverage gap is. The exact day your employer benefits terminate is the day you become uninsured, and you remain uninsured until your Medicare enrollment is fully processed. If processing takes weeks or months, you are left completely exposed to out-of-pocket costs, leading to skipped medications and delayed care. To avoid this, do not wait to use the full grace period. Initiate your Medicare enrollment the moment you know your job-based coverage is ending, ideally well before your last day of work. The penalty deadline is generous, but your medical needs cannot wait. The main reason I created my guide, The Quiet Rules, was because of cases like Merrill's. He was diligent and experienced at managing his budget, yet he was caught off guard by a flood of online misinformation because no one had provided him with a simple, clear reference showing what was true and what was false. The problem isn't that official information is secret. It is that false claims are loud while official rules remain quietly buried in paperwork. The Quiet Rules provides a clear reference for all these issues, exact details on how the payment schedule functions, so online headlines can't disrupt your finances, official names of genuine support programs, and guidance on which claims are legitimate versus which are clickbait. It gives you a quick way to verify rumors in seconds before making budgeting mistakes. You can find it at kevinexplains.shop via the link below by scanning the QR code on screen or in the pinned comment. It comes with a 7-day guarantee. If it doesn't provide useful, actionable information, you can return it. No one should be making medical or financial decisions based on non-existent funds. If this breakdown of the payment calendar was helpful, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you stay informed on the rules that affect your money. Now, let us cover the emergency options mentioned earlier, tools that can provide immediate financial relief when you need it most. There are two specific procedures the Social Security Administration can execute during severe financial crises. They are not secret shortcuts or loopholes. They are fully established administrative policies designed for extreme circumstances. 1. Emergency advance payment. If you have applied for benefits and meet the criteria for approval, but final paperwork processing is delayed while you face an immediate financial emergency, the agency can issue an advance payment before the full claim finishes processing. Most people assume that when dealing with government delays, there is no choice but to wait. In a verified emergency, that assumption is incorrect. There is an expedited path. 2. Immediate payment. This process applies if you are already an active beneficiary and your regular payment goes missing due to a processing error, system glitch, or bank change. If you are facing an urgent crisis, such as an active eviction notice or an impending utility shutoff, the agency can process a direct payment at the field office within days rather than weeks. Why are these options so rarely utilized? Because staff generally will not volunteer them. Field offices are frequently understaffed and managing long queues, so representatives rarely have the time to evaluate every potential emergency program for each person in line. The responsibility falls on you to request them directly using the correct administrative terminology. If you find yourself in a crisis, use the specific trigger phrase, dire need. State that phrase clearly to the representative. Explain your emergency in one direct sentence. For example, I have an active eviction notice, or my power is being shut off, and present your physical documentation, such as the official notice. That documentation officially converts your situation into a recordable emergency case. Keep in mind that these emergency tools have clear rules and limitations. Not everyone qualifies, the advance amounts are capped, and eligibility depends on your specific file. Furthermore, an advance payment is not additional money. It is an early distribution of your existing benefit that will be withheld from subsequent payments to balance your account. Even so, shifting funds forward by 2 weeks can mean the difference between maintaining your housing and being evicted. The key differentiator for getting assistance is knowing the correct terms and presenting the necessary documentation in person, rather than waiting at home. The Quiet Rules details these exact terms, required documentation, and step-by-step actions to take if an initial staff member is unfamiliar with the process. You can find it at kevinexplains.shop through the link below, via the QR code on screen, or in the pinned comment, backed by a 7-day guarantee. Additionally, if you are dealing with a complex agency issue and need direct input, you can reach out via the email address listed on screen and in the description. If you are struggling with field office access or long wait times, keep in mind that a standard appointment request is handled differently than an urgent crisis. If you are in a true dire need situation, lead with the emergency, state the required terms clearly, and present your documentation. If you are turned away, politely ask to escalate the matter to a field office supervisor, and make a habit of noting down the names of everyone you speak with alongside the date. This documentation builds a clear record for all follow-up contacts. Finally, remember that you can contact your local congressional representative's office for assistance. Members of Congress maintain staff dedicated to constituent casework, helping individuals navigate delays with federal agencies. It is a free service, and congressional staff have access to direct agency inquiry channels not available to the general public. If your case has been stalled for months, reaching out to your representative's office can often resolve the deadlock. To summarize the essential points, 1. There are no 2-check bonus months. You receive 12 payments a year. If 2 payments fall in one calendar month, the following month will have a gap. 2. The debit card update is a standard administrative contract change. It includes no extra funds, bonuses, or rebates. 3. Agency processing delays are real. The most critical risk is the gap between the end of employer health insurance and the start of Medicare. Initiate enrollment immediately rather than waiting out the full grace period. 4. Emergency expedited payment procedures exist for extreme financial crises, but you must request them directly using the phrase dire need along with supporting documentation. Here is your actionable checklist. Record this fundamental rule: 12 payments per year. Ignore claims promising extra checks. Verify any payment rumor against the official published Social Security payment calendar before making financial commitments. If you are transitioning off job-based health insurance, start your Medicare Part B enrollment right away. Remember that special enrollment requires employment verification forms, such as Form CMS-L564, completed by your former employer, so initiate that step early to avoid administrative delays. If facing severe hardship like eviction or utility shutoff, gather your paper notices, visit your local field office, and formally state dire need. Information about Social Security generally falls into two categories: high visibility claims that promise extra checks or special bonuses to gain views, and practical, low-profile rules regarding payment calendars, enrollment windows, and emergency procedures. Relying on misleading claims can lead to costly mistakes, whereas understanding the actual rules gives you the tools to manage your benefits accurately and securely.